All right, welcome back. And I think I've shown video before where we had some hives in the background, but for y'all that don't know, we actually keep hives out here on the property. Number one, to get really good honey. Had a contractor out here, gave him a bottle of our honey, and he said it was the best he ever had, and I believe him. And number two, helps keep the ag exemption cert. So it's fall, late fall, and we got to work the hives today. A couple things we're going to be doing: taking out some mite strips that we had probably 8 weeks ago we put in there, and those just kind of protect the bees against varroa mites. And then number two, checking their honey, just make sure they got adequate food supply for the winter. And then third is we're probably going to be reducing the size of the hives down. Some of these hives behind us, we've got 1 or 2 or 3 frame deep boxes. In the winter time, there's less bees, so you need to condense their house size essentially. That'll help protect against other invasive kind of insects that like to get in those hives. So that's what we're doing today. I got a special guest, beekeeper Mike. He's gonna be kind of walking through what we're doing over here. And yeah, let's get started.
All right, first thing we're going to do is make sure that they know we're here, give them a little smoke. That calms them down as well as breaks up their communication. Important with bees to have a good smoker and a good bee suit. Make sure there's no queen on the lid. And we'll smoke it again.
I'm actually come over here to the back side so I'm not standing in front of their entryway.
When you're checking bees, there'll be less likely that there's going to be, the queen is going to be in the outer edge of the hive. So when you can, if you take the first frame loose, this one is really stuck down good. So you break it loose from the hive and then lift it out. And this is capped honey, so they're still got plenty of food for the winter. This is the edge frame, which will have the least amount in it. You can see that's the one that was on the outside edge, and this is all capped honey.
Sweet.
I said, and this thing is pretty heavy. That one frame, that last frame probably weighed 8 or 10 pounds. This one's not quite as much, but you can see they haven't drawn the frame out good here. Where they did draw it out, they've got it capped in honey. Usually like to take a few frames out to get those out of the way. And then you can just start moving the frames apart. See how full that frame is?
Yeah, they got lots of honey this year. That's good.
We could have probably harvested this again. In the summertime, we would have harvested this and probably got 30 or 40 pounds of honey off of this hive. You can see that this frame is almost completely full, front and back. You notice how calm the bees are. That's partially because it's wintertime. All right, this hive, we just put it back together. The second box and the top honey super were all still full of honey. So they've got more than enough for the winter, and it's not gonna allow us to collapse it down unless we chase all the bees out of this and just take the full honey super off. But I think we'll leave it right now, maybe check it back in another couple of weeks. These are the Apivar varroa mite strips that we installed about 6 weeks ago. You can't have these in there when you're getting honey to harvest. So after we harvest, we do a oxalic acid vapor followed by these apivar strips. Then we'll come back early spring with oxalic acid, and then we'll start getting the bees ready to start harvesting next year.
Lots of honey, capped honey.
I'll try to get over to the middle of the box and see if there's any brood. Yep, there's a little brood right there.
Yep, I see it.
So we know our queen is slowed down, but she's still laying. There's a little bit of capped brood. Those are winter bees, which can last 3 or 4 months, where typical the summer bees. You can see there's some larvae in there that hasn't been capped yet. See down inside there? The little white larvae.
So the first 3 hives we had plenty of honey. 2 of them had a lot of brood, or a decent amount of brood going in the winter. Now we're checking on this 3rd hive, which again is a 3 deep super here. Top box is full of honey.
1, 2, 3.
Let me get a shot down in here.
5, 6, 7, 8. At least 8 frames. So let's look for signs of beetles or wax moths.
All right, how's the 2nd box down looking?
Got a lot in it too. And see where they've started opening up the capped honey for their winter food.
Hit it with some more smoke.
I want to mention that it's about 70 degrees out, so these perfect weather for working to checking the hives in the wintertime. If you don't get very many winter days, that it's smart to get in the beehive, because below 60 degrees you run the risk of endangering broods. There's some capped brood right there.
Yep.
We haven't seen the queen yet, but we're really not looking for the queen.
I don't see any uncapped larvae, so these are got to be ones that are just about to hatch.
I just saw a beetle go down in that one hole right there. Right there. That's a small hive beetle. That's what you don't want. And yeah, there you go.
Why don't you just smush it with your hand? Yeah.
All right.
There you got it. All right, this is a new hive that we got in early spring of this past year. We bought a nuke and a couple boxes, so it still, as all things go, I'd consider it a fairly young hive. But they don't, honestly, this is all capped honey up top here. Like this entire top is capped honey. So I'd be curious what the bottom box has.
Got this stuck down good. Oh man, that is heavy.
How are we looking?
Find out shortly. You get about 3, maybe 4 frames of bees. Like you have a lot of honey on the edge frames.
And we don't have to worry about mites in the winter time after it gets below a certain temperature yet, and that
A little bit of capped pollen right there, bee bread.
Yeah.
A little bit of bee bread in there.
These hives are so much nicer. Or calmer, I should say. Yeah, they're capping it now. Or eating it.
Yeah, they've uncapped some the honey in there. Consuming that. You can see that this one had water in it too. See on
Yep.
water line, I did not have the entrance reducer on this one, so we're going to go ahead and jack up the back of this one too.
Okay. All right, we got a little bit of brood in one of these young hives that we've got, and there's the queen right there.
Sure is.
Good job, queen.
She's not marked, but there she is.
She's supposed to be marked.
This one's not. Well, she got young. I wonder if they requeened, because she is not marked.
No, she's not. All right, last hive. And the top looks packed with honey.
Oh, it is heavy.
Yeah, from the sounds a beekeeper might. Probably got 40, 50 pounds of honey in there. And that's, I just took it out.
These empty here. That's the way they sound.
Should we reduce this one down?
Yeah, because you got a lot of
Yeah, I'd say half of this hive is empty.
One, two, three, four, five, six, probably 7. If we got enough to pull some empty frames out of here, we can go down to a single box.
Ooh, man, they're mad now.
Yeah, this is was not a very strong hive, so we got to condense it down where they don't have as much to try to defend.
Yeah. So there's the last hive. Top super there was full, but our issue is that's a honey super, so it's got the little shorty frames in it. But we need to condense them down into this bottom frame because there was only one, or bottom box, because there was only one frame that actually had honey in it. The rest were blank, just like that. So this hive is a little concerning. But we're in the process of busting this one down, and essentially we're gonna make it a 1-box hive.
All right, here we are at our other apiary. We just started this one this year. This is our first year for a horizontal hive. Trying to see if we like these. I know from an old man perspective, they are a lot easier to work because they're not heavy. Just don't know whether the bees will like them or not. And I still It's still out as to whether or not it will give a haven for small hive beetles. I can already see I've got Asian beetles all caught up in that corner right there. See them?
Oh yeah.
So it's a place for the Asian beetles to hang out. So the nice thing about these is they're easy to work. But if the bees don't like them, it doesn't matter.
Well, you seem to have a pretty good, strong hive.
Yeah, so this is a warm winter so far, so they may do great this year, and then when we get to a colder winter, maybe not. So I'm going to build a second one this year, and one thing I noticed about these is we get a lot of this burr comb built on top between the false top and the bees, and it allows me to actually sell some honeycomb. They're empty right now, but I would get those little strips. They work out great putting them in a mason jar. These are also very calm bees. I don't know if it's the design of the box or if it's the bees, but these bees have been very calm this year since I got this small hive, or this horizontal hive. This was we bought a nuke with queens, new marked queens. So both of these hives, I've got 10 or 11 frames of bees, which this time of year is great.
Now, why are you scraping that
Just so I
off?
can pull the hives off, or the frames up. What I've been doing is carrying this with me and then rendering this down to make additional beeswax. One of my grandsons got a candle making kit for Christmas, and I told him I'd start saving some beeswax for him. Right there's where we got some
Starting to build it out.
this new wax. These are, see, freshly drawn comb.
Yep.
A little bit of honey they had in there from earlier. A little bit of capped honey. And now we're getting into the ones that haven't consumed yet. So I've got at least 12 frames. This one's heavy. Got at least 12 frames of honey.
Any sign of brood?
Not yet. I expect it to be right in here. I expect to sit in the next couple of frames. You can see there where they're starting to clear out, where this is where the bees hang in the wintertime. And that's where the queen will start to lay back once she starts laying. If we have an early spring, we could have queens laying in February. Another 6 weeks from now, we could have new brood.
And she won't lay at all during the winter?
They don't necessarily lay at all. Sometimes they just slow down, sometimes they completely quit. It all depends on the bee population. If you got plenty of bees, then she doesn't feel the urge to lay. If the population starts to go down, then she may start laying just to keep the population up. A little bit of bee bread and
Honey.
capped honey and empty comb, and I don't see any brood, so I have a feeling that she doesn't have any brood going, but we got plenty of bees, so I'm not concerned about it. From a population standpoint, these are all winter bees. She'll have plenty of worker bees to feed her all winter. See all that pollen in there? Bee bread. They mix honey with pollen to make what they call bee bread, and that becomes their protein source for the winter. The honey is the carbohydrate. The bee bread or pollen is the protein. Well, we're through for today. You can see bees are still fairly calm. That's a good day when your smoker lasts the whole time. Now, it's what you got to do during the winter time to make sure that you've got strong hives come spring. So you probably won't be back in these hives until maybe even February. Thanks, guys.